Welcome into the show. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report. Chase Senior hanging out here with you. And as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. It is a Wednesday, January 14th. The Niners just got off the practice field as they continue their preparations for the Seattle Seahawks in the divisional round in Seattle on Saturday night for the right to play in the NFC Championship game. The winner of this game will take on the winner of the Chicago Bears Los Angeles Rams game, which is happening on Sunday. Coming up here on the show, we have some positive Niners injury news to get into as they just got off the practice field, and I can't believe what we're seeing with Fred Warner right now. He might play in this game on Saturday. We also have some news on the Seahawks injury front, which could impact San Francisco. Before we dive into all of that, do you want the shirt that I am wearing? Our Dub City collection. I paired up with our design guy, Arnold, and we were able to design these shirts. We also have hoodies. These are selling like crazy. I'm so glad that all of you like them. And we're sending these all across America, all across the world. You can find this shirt and the hoodie at chatsports.com/dubcity. I'm also going to put that link in the show notes and attach to the pinned comment so that you can get yours. Niners injury news on this Wednesday. Ji'Ayir Brown hamstring did not practice this afternoon, and this is why the Niners signed Darrick Forrest. We talked about that roster move a little bit earlier today. Be sure to check that video out. Darrick Forrest, a fifth-round pick by the Washington Commanders back in 2021. He played his college football at Cincinnati. He was in that secondary under Luke Fickell alongside Sauce Gardner, and Kobe Bryant. He's played in 40 games with 17 starts throughout his career, so not a bad practice squad addition for San Francisco. Pretty athletic player with that 4.4 speed. And so the Niners made that move because I highly doubt that Ji'Ayir Brown's going to be able to play in this game. So I would imagine the safety tandem for the Niners on that back end, rookie Marquise Siegel, the fifth-round pick out of Kansas State, who played really well against the Eagles, and then Malik Mustafa, the bowling ball. Jacob Cowing, hamstring. Full participant in practice today. The Niners opened up his practice window last week. I doubt that he plays because Kyle Shanahan needs to see a lot in order to trust a wide receiver, but he does have that speed component to his game. If you were to call some gadget plays for him, end arounds, bubble screens, you can utilize him in that manner, kind of like what the Niners have been doing at times with Sky Moore. But of note there, that Jacob Cowing, a full participant today. Luke Gifford quad did not practice. It might be the Eric Kendricks and Garrett Wallow show again at the linebacker spot. Incredible how Johnny Holland, the linebackers coach, and Robert Saleh had both of those players ready to play with how well they played and what they did to contribute. They only missed 2 tackles between them, and Eric Kendricks was making plays as a coverage linebacker against the run. Garrett Wallow showed some really good range. Kendricks was signed in late November. Garrett Wallow was signed in December. Eric Kendricks had not started a game since last year with the Dallas Cowboys. Garrett Wallow hadn't started a game in a couple of years, and they get thrown into the action. And I thought that they played so well for the Niners. And in fact, when you think about their instincts and what they did, they just look comfortable out there. They were a little bit better than some of the Niners backers in week 18, like Tatum Bethune and Dee Winters. I think their veteran presence really helped out this Niners defense. They also knew where to direct other players. Again, so impressed with what they did. Yetur Gross Matos knee limited. Ricky Pearsall knee limited. We'll talk more about him coming up. Fred Warner ankle limited. And this wasn't a walkthrough like what the Niners had yesterday. He was on the practice field practicing. I'm going to expand on him coming up here in a moment. Keion White, groin, hamstring, limited. Gives the Niners a lot of juice. There were a couple of times where he was able to push the pocket against Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia on Sunday. Trent Williams, hamstring, full. Dee Winters, ankle, limited. With Ricky Pearsall, he was on the practice field. I thought he looked pretty good. Throttling down, accelerating, decelerating, making some cuts. He was running some routes. He was catching some passes. I thought the gait looked pretty good. And this is the most that he's done on the practice field in a couple of weeks. The big thing here with Pearsall is that he said that he expects to play. The PCL is so tricky. That's what stabilizes your knee. Of course, that's very important for a wide receiver, but you can think that you're in a good spot. Then you re-aggravate it like Ricky Pearsall did, and then you're out for an extended period of time. So for him to say that he expects to play, I think that's big because he's got confidence in that knee right now. And Ricky Pearsall in week 1 had over 100 yards against this Seahawks defense, 108 to be exact. And he was pretty clutch late in the game. This also has a trickle-down effect on the Niners roster. Ricky Pearsall playing would allow the Niners to go with their 3 best wide receivers and avoid having Kendrick Bourne, Sky Moore, and Malik Turner on the field for long stretches when Malik Turner was in the game during Brock Purdy's game-winning drive against the Eagles on Sunday. And he was elevated from the practice squad. So this also impacts special teams too. The Niners wouldn't have to activate another wide receiver like Malik Turner. They can use that position on somebody else or another defender, where we know that San Francisco is very light. Fred Warner, limited participant. Fred Warner honestly looks incredible on the practice field. And I think that there is a chance, this is a prediction, it is not a report, that Fred Warner plays on Saturday. I know that the Niners opened up his practice window on Tuesday, and they said that they are hopeful that he could return for the NFC Championship game if the Niners were to beat the Seahawks and advance. And of course, that would be a special story because the Niners would be 1 game away from making it to Super Bowl 60, which happens to be at Levi's Stadium. And can you imagine the ovation that All-Pro Fred would get coming out of that tunnel at the Niners crib? But with Fred Warner on the practice field today, he was bouncing around. He was cutting. He was running at a pretty good clip and speed. Like, Fred Warner looks like a player who could play in a game on Saturday. He broke his ankle and dislocated it on December 13th, 3 months ago, and he's already back looking this good. I saw him punching the sled. He was looking at the media members, kind of nodding his head a little bit. I just can't believe what we're seeing right now with Fred Warner. And he said today, we're taking it day by day. I think they said last week they weren't going to open my window, and then my window is now open. So yeah, we're just taking it day by day. He did acknowledge what Kyle Shanahan said, that there are still boxes that he needs to check before he can be cleared to play. He did not seem worried about the idea that he's returning prematurely, though. Quote, everything up to this point has been in direct communication with the doctors, the trainers, everybody involved with my surgery. Nothing up until this point has been done just out of hey man, just go out there and do it. Everything is scientifically based, right? So anytime you step out there on a football field, that's what this game is, a violent game. But at the same time, I'm not going to go out there and put myself at an added risk if I'm not ready. I think obviously when all this happened, I didn't think about the possibility of returning in season, but the way things progressed and being able to have this opportunity to be back with my teammates and have a chance at helping them win this week, so on and so forth, that's my only goal moving forward. Consummate pro, great leader. I've never heard a bad word about Fred Warner. He's the fabric of this organization, the heart and soul of this organization, and an all-time player on and off the field. And if he pulls this off, what a freaking recovery, man. Trent Williams being a full participant, that's huge. Him being on the field against the Eagles elevated everybody else along that offensive line. Him not playing against Seattle exposed the Niners offensive line against the Seahawks in week 18. And I talked about these numbers earlier that I saw Akash dig up. Running behind Trent Williams, week 1 against the Seahawks, 7 carries, 43 yards for the Niners, 6.1 yards per carry. With Austin Pleasance against the Seahawks in the regular season finale, when the Niners couldn't run it a lick for like 53, 54, 55 yards. 5 carries, 14 yards behind Austin Pleasance, 2.8 yards per carry. It's quite the impact right there. On the Seahawks injury report, DeMarcus Lawrence, their stud pass rusher, popped up on the injury report yesterday with an Achilles. Of course, anytime that happens, you get very worried for a player, and you think to Dre Greenlaw and what happened with him. He was limited yesterday full participant today. So that's a good sign for DeMarcus Lawrence being able to play in this game. And then this is kind of weird. Charles Cross, their star left tackle, who they just signed to a $100 million contract on January 4th, was full yesterday with his hamstring injury, but then limited today. So we'll keep tabs on that, and we'll see if Charles Cross is able to play in this game for the Seahawks, one of the top offensive tackles in the game. All right. Just wanted to give everybody some Niners news on this Wednesday evening, January 14th. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Give me a follow on all my social media platforms, X, Instagram, TikTok, at Chase_Senior. My Facebook has been taken off. You can find me there, Chase Senior Chat Sports. We're going to go live tomorrow on the 49ers Report. I think we're going to launch some Seattle Week t-shirts, so be on the lookout for that. And we'll catch you soon here on the San Francisco 49ers Report.